Hey, you guys. Okay, one of the things that I think we need to be mindful of when we move to just drawing on paper or painting on a canvas or what have you is that in the vector environment and also even in the raster environment, we need to think of vertical space off the page. This applies to the concept of layers as well as stacking order. When we create things in Illustrator, it's not necessarily that we create a line drawing that's just on a flat page. We're actually creating objects and stacking them on a piece of paper, much like we would set a table. So you want to think in terms of, your page as being analogous to the way you'd set a table. First, you lay down your tablecloth. And upon your tablecloth, then you set down your napkins for each place setting. And then on top of the napkins, you set your fork, your knife, your spoon, and of course, then your plates. And then you have a cup, and into the cup, you place your beverage. So it makes this kind of relevant metaphor for what this environment is like. And I'm just going to show you this concept as we're starting out here in the early stages of using this tool so you can see what I mean and why this is relevant. When I go over here and I select the rectangle tool, I'm going to be drawing, a rectangle of any proportion on the page, and it's going to default to my colors down here, my fill color, which is white, and my stroke color, which is black. But let me just double click in here and manipulate this color so it's a little more obvious what we're doing. There we go. It's a nice kind of dull brick red. All right, now I'm going to go and select another object, or excuse me, draw another rectangle and put it on top, and it's going to default to those fill colors. But let's manipulate that color a little bit just to make it a little more interesting. It's kind of ugly, a little too bright. That might work. Still kind of ugly, but in any case, who's to judge the value of a color? All right, now I'm going to go here and I'm going to press on my rectangle tool to see what other options I have, and I'm going to do the star tool, and let me double click on that to bring up some options to manipulate that tool. It defaults to a 5-point star, but I'm going to say, hey, let's change this to a triangle. No, not a star. Let's make it a 7-point star and see what happens. It's going to default to this size here. Okay. And I'll click on my selection tool and I'll make it a little bigger, and I'll go down here, change the color. Let's bring in a nice yellow, more of a true yellow, not a mustardy yellow. Knock it down a little bit and just say okay. So what we have, and I'll put it right here. So what you see is that rather than looking at in terms of just being a flat line drawing, we have objects that are literally stacked on top of each other. And this is understanding this is going to make your use of the tool a lot easier, because your interactions with each object are going to depend on where it is in the stacking order. You may not be able to manipulate something as readily if it happens to be hidden behind another object based upon what's known as the stacking order. Stacking order means the order in which the objects were actually created and put on the page. So this object here, the red brick that we created, is first in the stacking order. The purple block is second, and whatever name we have for this geometric shape is third in the stacking order. So if you can comprehend how stacking order works and think of it as objects stacked on top of each other, and understand that you're going to be manipulating those objects in terms of order to get your desired artistic effects, you're going to have a lot more confidence in the Illustrator environment. As we get into chapter 8 or lesson 8 in the textbook, we're going to talk about layers, and layers are a more enhanced application of the idea of a stacking order, in terms of that you're going to be able to lock and unlock different facets of your illustration that are layered on top of each other, so that you can have a little bit more control as you create some elaborate images. All right, hope that's helpful to you.